Lewis.
Was that a fart?
So
What was
gassy.
that?
That was Lewis. Lewis Wallace.
I have the tape to prove that was not me.
And we're live. We're live. I think the bits are coming in. You ready for a tweet, Lewis? This one's going to get him. This one is going to get him rolling in. Are you ready for this?
Full Swalwell.
The evidence is in the lift. You got to watch for the lift. That's how you know what really happened. If there's a lift, if the heels come up, that's how you know there was a blast wave. There's the tweet. I'm pressing the button, Lewis. I'm going to do it. Ready?
See it.
Boom! And we're live. Shout out to Martin, who says, hello. It's not how you spell that, Martin, but I'll let it go this one time. Shout out to Level Remix. Hola, gents. Efron, you got to tell me 14-inch or 16-inch. I think you know the answer to that question. If you don't, ask Alex's mom. Shout out to Adam Broussard.
Can't believe I laughed at that. Good God.
I mean, it was decent. Shout out to Blake Searles. Boom! Shout out to Jammin' Harrison. He's jamming. He also says, sup, everyone. The people are rolling in. We're going to have a full show today. We got so much to talk about today. Level Remix says, ha ha ha. Thank you. He liked that joke. Blake Searles says, ask Trump. I'm not sure what that reference is in relation to. Jammin', we know you went big. Oh, dude, I'll tell you what. We're going to talk about the MacBook Pros, everything you want to know and more. And I just got a piece of information, hot off the press. If you were on the fence about whether to get the 14-inch or the 16-inch MacBook Pro, I think this one fact is going to make the decision for you. And there are some differences between the 14 and 16. We're going to talk about that. There's some things that the 14 can do that the 16 cannot.
Come on.
Yep. And there are some things that the 16 can do that the 14 cannot. So we'll talk about all that stuff. We need some startup tones.
Deflate your wallet.
I got some on the way. Adam Broussard from Handshakes to You. Martin says, ha 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 ha. Barry Rose says, Airphone, we need some startup tones. Oh, I got him queued. And we're going to talk all about the Unleashed event because unlike the last event, the iPhone 13 event, which was a total snooze fest, where I sat there with my tongue hanging out of my mouth like this pretty much the entire keynote. This one I was excited. It was action-packed.
Wow.
I wanted to do a karate kick, like a David Lee Roth karate kick when it was over.
Must have
When
like
I land on
switched
your mic like that
bodies.
and smash your foot up.
It would have sent me to the hospital to get a groin reconstruction surgery, but it would have been worth it. How about those HomePod minis? Oh, man, they're beautiful. I wish they would have added some new features, though. Nippy in Seattle, brother. It always is.
Jeez.
Javier Campo. He says, auto-tune? I don't know what that means. All right, we got him ushering in. Should we just get the thing going already? We've done
No,
enough.
let's wait another hour.
Leander, you wanna show him your creepy plant collection? Your
I live in a greenhouse conservatory.
Leander literally lives in a greenhouse. He was just showing
my
me all the
God.
plants in the Cult of Macworld headquarters there, and I could not believe what I was seeing.
Okay, here is
He's like Poison Ivy from the Batman movies. They told me to get put on a green leotard and
that's
dye
the
his
window
hair.
display.
Look at all that
What's-
stuff.
What's the survival rate, Leander?
The plants, it's not bad. You know, it's kind of like 8 out of 10. All the
I
dead
was
ones are
gonna
over on
guess
your
8.
desk in the corner.
Oh.
Bad
There's a
reverb.
fireplace.
Got it. Fixed. Sorry about that, guys. Gal, why do we keep having these audio issues? Because because I just switched to Cane Grip. That's why. Yep, I had to turn it off. Thanks for letting me know that. Yeah, so you're ready for Halloween, Leander. All you need to do is dress like Poison Ivy and just sit in your office. You're ready to go.
All right.
Yep.
I haven't got a clue who Poison Ivy is, to be honest, but
No, you don't know who Poison Ivy. Did you ever see any of the Batman movies?
No.
Oh. look how easily he just says, no, I never saw it. No,
I think
I
this
saw-
is more like Swamp Thing.
You're right. That's better. All right. We're dropping viewers precipitously. They're waiting for
Who
us to
can
actually
blame 'em?
talk about something relevant here, and we're just making plant jokes. Everyone loves a good plant joke, but let's go ahead and queue up Mrs. You Know Who. And let me get everything ready here, and we'll get this thing rolling. Ready? Oh, Mrs. D. I'll give you the D. Oh, my goodness. Mrs. D, calm down. I mean discipline. You're a naughty boy. Well, you got me there. Mrs. D, are you ready to get this show going? Because the people want to hear more about the MacBook Pro, as do I, young chap. Okay, let me cue up the music here. And I think we're ready to get this thing blasting. All right, crisp and clean audio. That's what I like to see. Thank you for that. Thank you for that note there, Adam Broussard. Here we go. Hello and welcome to CultCast, the best 30+ minute Apple conversation you're gonna hear all week long. I'm your host, Airport Elijah. I don't know why. It's just like I can't stop laughing. Joining me today, the last thing he remembers from watching the Unleashed keynote is Apple announcing the M1 Pro and the M1 Pro Max SoC. And that's when he blue screen. His brain shut off. He passed out, and of course, he lost all bladder control. Thankfully, he's back. He's doing much better now. He's the founder of CultMac. Lander Candy is here. Could have been worse. Could have been at number 3. Also with us, he keeps an IV bag, a defibrillator, some smelling salts, and a mop standing by to address any reactions Lander Candy might encounter during the Apple keynote. Thankfully, this year, or for this keynote, he only needed the smelling salts and the mop. He's the managing editor of CultMac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Keeping it clean.
Lewis, I like the new you. Did you know that your background isn't blurred?
I got some flack
Yeah.
on the old Twitter
You
about
think
the
that
blur.
this
So
is
I'm going clear, fully transparent, bask in it.
You're going clear? I heard that you've been
Do it.
working on that for years.
Do what you will with it. I can't help it. There's a bed back there. There's a dresser. There's some petticoats. Those are not mine. Swear to God.
Really? They look your size, Lewis.
They're everyone's size.
It looks like there's like an interesting assortment of like old cups sitting on the dresser back there, and I like that orange pillow that's there. It looks disheveled. Looks like there's some luggage. You going somewhere, Lewis?
Yeah, that's my go kit.
Well, you might be needing that. Is that your bug out bag?
You just go like this. You open up the suitcase and then you just sweep your arm across the top of the dresser and dump it all in.
All that costume jewelry and the petticoats, just jam it all in and start my new life.
In the forest of Ohio. Does Ohio have forests? Probably somewhere. I guess that's
What do you?
the cabin's got to be out.
Does
in the forest
Ohio
somewhere.
have forests?
I've never been there, Lewis. I've never been there. I don't know. It
course
could be
it
like
does.
Iowa, no forests.
It's America.
Yeah. Not all the states have forests, Lewis. Come on, don't be so presumptuous.
You think that? I bet you every single state has a forest.
Doubt it. I doubt Iowa has one. I almost guarantee you Arizona doesn't have a forest.
I was gonna say Arizona, Nevada.
Nevada doesn't have a forest. Look at you. Egg on
How about
face.
I don't
Have
know.
you
That's
ever
quite-
been in the mountains of Nevada? What do you call the places with all the trees? You call
There
them
might-
forests.
Look, there might be a couple trees.
Let's look. The Nevada Division of Forestry. What do you think they do all day?
Probably nothing, because they have nothing to
It's
do.
what-
Yeah,
That's
okay.
a government boondoggle I'll ever see, isn't it?
Yeah, they just sit around because they don't have a forest to maintain. All they've got
Little
is
known
dry,
fact.
flat land.
There's more to Nevada than Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'll believe it when
I
I
was
see
gonna say
it.
the only forest I know in Nevada is at the Tropicana.
Yeah, exactly. That's the forest that I want to
Wow.
go to.
Don't forget what are those stupid Rainforest Cafe or something? Are those out of business yet?
I don't like the cafe, and I don't like rainforests either. They all bug me. All right, someone's saying that AZ has mountains loaded with trees. Whatever.
See,
I don't
come
believe
on,
it.
you guys. I don't need this flyover crap. Don't get started with this stuff.
I'm
They
not
don't-
talking about
they
flyover.
don't
I,
have anything in the middle of the country.
Look, I don't even like the forests. I like the desert. So don't presume that I'm making fun of them for not having forests. I don't even want to go into a forest. How many forests the Pacific Northwest has? They're all over the place, and they make me sick. It's like dirty, scraggly animals everywhere. There's bears. There's all sorts of dangerous stuff, and there's just trees dropping pine needles all over your
Creepers.
BMW. It's terrible. All right, let's get into the show. We're gonna talk MacBook Pro, and we're gonna talk Apple Unleashed event. And so here's the deal, y'all. Here's the deal. We're going to talk about the MacBook Pros, give our reactions to everything, and talk about some new details that you probably haven't heard yet. I've just been like in research mode for 2 days straight. I've been soaking up everything. And I'm not the only one that's psyched about the MacBook Pro. I was looking at the video that Apple has available on YouTube, And dude, it had like 3 million views. Like the Mac never gets that much attention. People are super excited about this new MacBook Pro. I think Apple is going to make a gazillion dollars, and I can't wait to see what happens with my Apple stock, because this thing's going to sell like crazy. This is like iPhone level fervor, I think. For a Mac, that's rare. Before we dive in, let me give a very hearty thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Squarespace.com/CultCast. If you'd like to build yourself a beautiful website, maybe you're addicted to socks and you want to build a website about how much you love socks. When you see the visual example,
You're a socks addict.
that means you'd have to go to SA meeting, Socks Anonymous, right? Socks Anonymous.
Yeah.
My name's Lewis, and you won't believe what I do with socks.
It's probably a special term for it, sockers or something.
Yeah.
Sock.
You would know.
Sock.
Sockheads? I don't know.
Moving on.
Well, let's talk about this offline. Squarespace.com/CultCast. If you need a website, this is where I have my website, and it's so easy to build, so easy to maintain. If you want to build a website for your business, simple. You'll be up and running in mere moments, and you can maintain it all yourself. It looks beautiful. You just choose one of their templates. You can pick the different colors and customize absolutely everything, make it look uniquely yours. Maybe you want to create a website for some classes you're going to teach, for your coaching services. They just make it really easy to monetize your website, so you can have a members-only area. You can have people book your time on a calendar. You could sell products and services of all kinds. You can sell digital projects like music or albums or something. You can build a one-page website that just highlights you, your resume. I always tell people it's good to have like a one-page impactful site up if you're looking for a job, if you're coming out of college or something, because it just makes you look sleek, calm, cool, collected, and they're going to hire you over that other person who just has a resume, because what can you learn from a resume, right? Everyone just fills that stuff with nonsense and lies anyway. So if you're ready to build a website, if you've been thinking for the last 5 or 6 years since Squarespace has been sponsoring us, and you're like, yeah, I just don't, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But now's your moment. Now you're thinking, okay, I'm ready to make my move. Now's the time to head to squarespace.com/CultCast. Get started. Build a website, see how you like it. And at the end of the 2-week trial, if you like what you have, you just start paying Squarespace for the service. You can get 10% off your first purchase at squarespace.com/CultCast. Use the offer code CultCast at checkout. If you do a year of service like I do, then you get a free domain name and an additional discount. So it's a really great way to get an affordable website. And thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. All right, here we go. Where are we first? I don't even know. That's right. The MacBook Pros. Would I be remiss to not give it what it deserves? Baby. This was the one we were waiting for, guys. This was the one we were waiting for. I just feel like Apple hit all the right notes. There's virtually nothing I don't love about this machine. When I was watching it, I was just thinking to myself, Apple's back. Johnny Ive is gone, and Apple's back.
Apple's back.
They were on the verge there for a while of going under. I think that we could all agree they were on the verge of going under. But this might be what saves them. Was someone going to say something, Leander?
Well, there's a lot of people saying, now that Johnny Ive's gone, Apple's, improved immeasurably. But I saw one of the screen engineers was tweeting about his contribution. He said he started in 2009, worked on the screen all the way through 2020 and, 21. And so he's been working on this for more than 2.5 years. I've left 2 years ago. You see where I'm going with this?
You're saying that Johnny Ive was involved in this?
Yeah, of course.
So I don't think he was. I think that his involvement was waning for years before he finally actually left, right? They phased him out. So by the time they started working on this, I think Johnny Ive was there. He was on the website, on the leadership team page, but his mind, his heart, they were long gone.
He checked out. There was a lot.
Go ahead.
There was a lot of talk about that. He had checked out, for a while beforehand.
Jameson is asking how long before I pedal my before I put up the coat cloth on this episode. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Stay tuned.
Like, yeah, as soon as we get rid of this, talk about the MacBooks, we're gonna go on to that.
The whole point of this show is building to the crescendo of me selling you some coat cloth. That's the entire point of this show. Okay, and just look at all the products that we're gonna showcase that would benefit from having some coat cloth around, keep them nice and shiny. There's just so many products here. So reactions to the MacBook Pro, Leander. You seem like you were maybe a little lukewarm when I talked to you earlier. You were like, not so sure that you were as titillated as I was.
I'm a desktop guy, I'm more excited about the 27-inch iMac, and I was actually hoping they would unveil that.
Yeah, me too.
I was excited about all the internals, the chips. Oh my god! And when that thing goes into a 27-inch iMac, I'm buying that so fast that it's going to make your eyes water. But the MacBooks. They look great machines, but I'm not really a MacBook guy.
Lewis?
Well, I guess I have kind of the same response. I mean, they look like awesome machines, but it's. I was trying to think of some kind of reason to justify me buying one of those because the M1 MacBook Air works great for everything I have to do. Great. Yeah. So it's like it'd be like buying a Maserati when all I really need is a Prius. It's like I mean, if I had a ton of money, I would get one in a heartbeat, but I don't have a ton of money, so why pay $3,000 for a maxed out? Well, I don't know how much the maxed out one. It's more than $3,000.
I think it's 6.
It's more like twice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they look great. I mean, I'd love to have one, but can't justify it, right?
You know who would look great in a Maserati? You, Lewis.
Yeah, right. Wrapped around a telephone pole. The thing about those things. When they were announcing them, it was just like one thing after another, 70 billion this, 100 million times that. And, it's like astonishing. But at some point, my eyes just glazed over. I'm like, okay, these are super fast computers, and I don't do anything that would ever utilize that speed. So I kind of checked out mentally halfway through the thing, after the, 57th graph showing how much faster it was at, at this performance and this battery level and blah, blah, blah. And it just kind of got a little much for me, the whole thing. And then even when they went and like started showing the uses of it, I'm like, yeah, those people are going to love this machine, right? I mean, the animators and stuff like that. Sure, of course, they love it. They would, I mean, if I did that kind of work, one would be coming to my house this week, I'm sure. But a little hard to justify when all you do is, type in pages.
Yeah, I think you're right. If you don't do video editing or anything graphics intensive, then you're definitely better off with an M1. You don't need all this power. Few men need this much power. Look, I just happen to be one of them.
It's not like you're better off. It's just like you don't need to spend that money because these entry-level machines are very capable for everyday tasks.
Totally. But it's funny, listen to you guys talk about this. You guys are way more lukewarm than me. I was like breathing heavy. my area around my mouth was all damp, and my heart was beating fast because this thing just hit all the notes for me. And I think this is one of the most exciting products that Apple has ever released. You
edit video.
Yes, I edit video, I make content, and so for me, and for a lot of people who make content, this is what we've been waiting for. And when I was saying like, oh, Apple's back, I really do think that if Johnny Ive was still with Apple, we wouldn't be seeing this machine. The machine we would be seeing would be some strange vision of future computing that Johnny Ive thinks that we're all going to adopt our lives to. Yeah.
There's something to be said for it, though, right? Like, cause I saw a picture on Twitter, of course. What else do I look at all day? Of the new MacBook Pro, and it was a picture of the 2012 MacBook.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, just kidding. I fooled you, everybody. But that's kind of what it is. It's Back to the Future, right? It's there was something to be said, I think, for Johnny Ives pushing the design into new areas, because that's how we get new stuff, isn't it? If they're going to stick with stuff that they've always had, the company becomes a little more boring, I think. Even though it's, you said it's popular by popular demand. This is what customers wanted. They haven't sticking in all the old ports and everything. I don't know. There's something a little bit, I'm kind of like, even if it fails, at least it's a brave attempt. You know what I mean? Like the butterfly keyboard.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
If it had worked, it would have been great.
That's a big if. Yeah, the butterfly keyboard. That era of Macs was, I think, a disaster. Like from 2016 to 2020, especially when they removed all of the ports and then they had all those keyboard issues. Their sales were just flat that entire time, and ever since they adopted the M1, their sales have started going up again. Now, I think that the pandemic probably has something to do with that, but I think a lot of people are just more excited about the Apple Silicon and what it's capable of, and like the huge increases in battery performance. And I guess I didn't even mean to get railroaded in this conversation. I don't know what influence Johnny Ive would have had if he was still here, but I suspect that we would have gotten a computer that was much more in line with his esoteric aesthetic tastes and less practical. Apple seems to be making a return to practicality, and this machine perfectly exemplifies that. Like, it's a little thicker. They in the 16-inch, they packed a bigger battery in there, like the maximum they could pack in while still allowing this plane or this computer to fly on airplanes. The SD card slot is back. They actually removed a Thunderbolt port in lieu of some other ports. They added HDMI, which is a port that not everyone even uses, and yet they still made it powerful. So it's still thin and still beautiful, but it has a lot more practicality brought back, and they've made it much more useful for a wide variety of people, and not just really beautiful, really sleek, really thin, and then you have to carry around a bag of dongles with you, which was outrageous. I do want to point out the design is definitely reminiscent of the G4 Power Book, which I really loved. And let me see here. Where's my Apple screen?
The 2012 one or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's even before, isn't it? Even earlier.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure what years these body types were out. But if you look at this machine, you can just see it's got like that rounded bottom that the PowerBook G4 has, which I really love. So you could totally see that they're taking some design cues from this machine. And this is one of my favorite hardware designs that Apple had. Anyway, so super excited. Let's talk about specifics of the MacBook Pro. You're probably wondering which one I'm going to get. I'm going to go with the 16-inch, and there's several reasons why I want the bigger screen. But also, we got a story hot off the press today. This was from Mac Rumors, I think. Did I pull this up? No, I don't think I actually have it up here. Let me see if I can bring this up while I'm talking and just and vamp.
So multitasking.
Oh yeah. I could do it like a pro. No one's even going to notice that I'm sitting here scrolling and frantically looking for the story. Oh, there we go. Look at that. I found it. Go me. So the story just came out about the 16-inch MacBook Pro and how apparently with the M1 Max on the 16-inch model, only with the M1 Max, you will be able to turn on a high power mode, which will allow the Mac to optimize performance for resource-intensive tasks. Now, this is really interesting. I will give a shout-out to Max Yuryev, who did a video on the MacBook Pros and all the different details about them. And he was noticing that the weight of the M1 Pro Max MacBook Pro is several ounces more, maybe like 2 or 3 ounces more than the M1 Pro version. And he's like, why would that be? Why would that machine be so much heavier? And he was theorizing, well, it's probably because they improved the thermal system in that Mac for some reason. Well, here you go. I think this is why. They probably beefed up the thermal system in the M1 Pro Max 16-inch MacBook Pro because they want to enable this high-power mode for intensive workloads. And this is the only computer that has this feature. So if that didn't make your decision for you right there, it did for me. I was kind of on the fence because there are some things that the 14-inch MacBook Pro can't do. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, but I'm just gonna go with the flow. Like with the MacBook Pro, the 14-inch, it can be fast charged with a 96-watt adapter, and you can use that adapter on any of the Thunderbolt ports to fast charge the MacBook Pro, the 14-inch. The 16-inch can only be fast charged via MagSafe with the 140-watt adapter. So, in a way, the 14-inch is a little bit more has more useful charging tech built in. you're a little bit more limited on the 16-inch MacBook Pro. That's not a huge bummer to me, but it is something that you might want to know if you were kind of leaning one way or the other. And then, of course, you got the M1 Pro, the M1 Max, just absolute powerhouse chips. I can't wait to see what the benchmarks are for these. And I just thought I could highlight some of the interesting parts about these two chips and specifically the differences because they're pretty similar. Like the M1 Max, you get the extra 32 cores or the extra 16 cores, so 32 cores of GPU versus the 16 for the MacBook Pro with the M1 Pro. And you also get 400 gigabits memory bandwidth versus 200 on the Max versus the Pro. And then this is the really interesting part to me, and I think one of the reasons this is going to be a killer machine for video editors is with the M1 Pro Max, you get 2 ProRes accelerators, encoding and decoding, versus just 1 encoder for the M1 Pro. So you get extra video processing power if you go with the M1 Pro Max. God, I'm saying Pro a lot. Because you got to say
Max,
like...
isn't it? It's just M1 Max, not M1 Pro Max.
I thought it was
M1
the M1 Pro Max.
M1 Max.
Max.
Is it just Max?
The chip itself is called the Pro or the Max.
Thank goodness, because I'm like, the M1 Pro MacBook Pro Max. There's too much. My brain's going to blue screen. We're going to say, Leander?
It already has.
Hold on, I'm going to do a hard reset. Hold on. I've lost power control. Let's see here. So there you go. Those are the main differences between the M1 Pro and the M1 Max. Both of them look absolutely incredible. I can't wait to see what the benchmarks are for these chips.
Did you see that stat that the Max has 57 billion transistors?
I did not see that.
That's more transistors than all of the Macs of all of the chips and all of the Macs shipped in like 1995.
Wow. Well, the thing that blew my
year.
mind was they compared the performance. So Notebook Check compared the performance of the GPU to a PlayStation 5, and basically they looked at the M1 performance, and then they took Apple's metrics, and they're like, okay, it's 40% faster in this situation, or 70% faster in this situation, and then they just basically extrapolated that to figure out what the performance was of the M1 Pro and the M1 Max. And the number they arrived at for the M1 Max was actually pretty insane. Do I have that story up here? I got to have it here somewhere. So they basically said that the performance of the M1 Pro or the M1 Max is on par with a PlayStation 5. So the GPU power is the same, actually better. So the M1 Max GPU power cranks out with a 32 core, cranks out 10.4 teraflops. And the PlayStation 5 is 10.28 teraflops. So it's more powerful than a PlayStation 5, which is crazy.
According to some extrapolated numbers, they haven't tested this yet.
They haven't tested it yet. Thank you for reiterating that. But they also said that they're taking into account, or they're assuming that the clock speeds haven't changed. So it's possible that Apple might actually increase the clock speeds and the performance might be even better. So that's like the level of GPU performance that you're getting here. And of course, Notebook Check also had some other parameters in their story, and they were saying that the GPU performance is on par with an RTX 2080, which is a desktop edition 2080, which is an insane GPU that would probably cost you in today's market, I don't know, $800 or something. So the GPU performance in the M1 Pro, can't do this, the M1 Max is really astoundingly good.
Does that mean it's going to be good for Bitcoin mining?
Oh, you know it. And that's good because I want to get my hands on some Shatcoin to get the newest coin that all the kids are talking about. Someone created it's called Shatcoin. So they created a coin based on William Shatner.
Oh,
and
okay.
Oh my God.
It's called Shatcoin, and apparently Shatner had nothing to do with it at all. He just found out about it, and when you go to the coin page, it like features William Shatner's face, and he's like photoshopped into like the headline of this coin on the like the header images, and he was like super pissed. He's also one of the most dynamic and lucid 90-year-olds probably in the history of the world. Like, it's unreal that he's on Twitter talking about cryptocurrency and stuff. Anyway, so where were we? I lost my place. So there is the GPU performance expectations for the M1 Max. It's totally insane. We talked about the aesthetic. We talked about the design. Let's talk about some of the other features of this computer. What is going on in this? What is going on in these notes? Who's in here editing?
Lewis is
It's
benchmarks.
It's got to be Lewis.
No, I'm trying to show you. There's a post about the benchmarks.
All I see is like the freaking things jumping all around, and you had a Google link in here, and now it's gone. Oh, thank you. Did you add a link to this?
Do you see that link there?
Yeah, was that not?
I see what you're saying. It wasn't linked. I don't know. Yeah.
Was that
there
not there before? Okay. Was that not there before? Okay, so thank you. Lewis brought up the story that we had on Cultimac. If you guys want to check this out, although we just basically talked about the whole thing. So anyway, all that to say, like the performance of the M1 Max is on par with very powerful desktop versions of very popular GPUs. Like the 2080 Max is a GPU that most gamers would love to have, and it's built into the MacBook Pros. That's impressive. Okay, let's talk about some of the other details.
Like this size on the chip, isn't it? That's probably about.
What's that?
It's the actual size of that little part of the you've replaced a massive desktop GPU card with a tiny little area, like a quarter of the die. Right. Like probably like less than a centimeter square. It's just
and they're able to cool it in a chassis that is super thin, super slim. So yeah, that kind of adds to the magic of the GPU, the fact that they would be able to fit that kind of power in here. And it shows the engineering prowess that Apple has developed with a chip that is it runs so cool and it uses so little power that they're able to cram it into this machine. It'll be really interesting to see what they do with it once they get into a desktop machine, like a iMac or
once they crank the power up. Yeah,
I wonder if they can. I really wonder if they can increase the cooling capacity or something. So let's see here. Where were we? We're talking about other features of the MacBook Pro. Wi-Fi 6, no 6E. That's kind of a bummer.
Does that matter? What's that?
6E is the newer, faster Wi-Fi 6 standard. So you would kind of. I would hope that Apple would build that in. They didn't. They're using the slower Wi-Fi 6 standard. They also got Bluetooth 5 in here, and I don't think it's the newest standard. Now, another impressive feature of these machines are the liquid retina displays. So the previous generation MacBook Pro, the 2019, had a max brightness of 500 nits, and these new ones have a max brightness of 1,000 nits. Now, 1,000 nits is you can see it outside in daylight. That's how bright it gets. Like most. Or I should say some daylight monitors that you can use outside are 1,000 nits. I have one. It's 1,000 nits. And this thing can turbo boost up to 1,600 nits to support HDR content. So it can get even brighter than 1,000 nits. If you were inside with the lights down low, yeah, it would hurt your eyes. You'd have to turn it down for sure.
It'd be like getting lasered by Superman.
Yeah, who was that? Who's that character in the new Amazon show with those superheroes?
The boys. I was thinking, I can't remember his name.
Homelander. Yeah, so massive improvements to the screen. The screen is also almost just under 4K resolution now, so you're getting a much higher fidelity screen. The brightness is double what it used to be, and then there's the peak brightness is just totally insane. So a much better screen. Let's see here.
And 120 hertz refresh rate. That's one of the best undersung features of the 13, the iPhone 13. Is that screen? If you go back and look at if you turn it off, in fact, if you can you can check it. You can turn it off, put it into battery saving mode, and it turns off the higher refresh rate, and you can see the difference it makes. And it is actually noticeable.
Yeah, I totally forgot to mention that. Right. So you also get the 120 hertz refresh rate and support for HDR. In SSD territory, you have a SSD that's pretty much twice as fast as it used to be. Now it's up to 7.4 gigabytes a second, which is totally insane, and that is twice as fast as it used to be. You get the new thermal system, which Apple says moves 50% more air than it used to, even at lower fan speeds. And then, of course, I think that the M1 Max 16-inch MacBook Pro is going to have an extra special thermal system so it can handle the high power mode. Just my assumption. I don't know if that's true, but it is heavier for some strange reason, and I think that's why. And then, of course, you get the 1080p FaceTime cam with 2 times better low light performance and a wider aperture.
No Face ID though. What is going on?
Got to save something for next year, Lander. Got to keep something on the plate for next year. But yeah, especially with that really ugly notch, which is ugly. I will concede that. But you would think that with that notch in there, you would get Face ID, but alas, you don't. Let's see here. And then you get that beautiful new keyboard. Wow. They really nailed the aesthetic of this. Where's the keyboard? They have the keyboard against the black panel of the metal below it. God, I don't have a picture of it here. God, show fail. Come on, Apple. Where's the freaking keyboard? Show me the keyboard. There it is. There's a little sliver of it. I just think that looks beautiful. The black keys against the black deck beneath that. Very, very tasteful design choice there. And then, of course, Audio's touch bar, which I know some people will be sad about. It's only some. Only a handful. But for those of you that love it.
Graham's sad about it.
Really?
Graham is a touch bar power user.
Oh, those exist? I didn't know.
One of three.
Quite a few people were complaining about it going away, saying it. Well, not complaining. They were sort of lamenting. A little bit sad.
Yeah, some people really love the touch bar. I think the touch bar was useful for people that don't know the keyboard shortcuts. I've always said this. So it surfaces.
Like people use it for specific things, like they had a touch bar and they used it for one thing, like in Word or whatever, or for autofill or whatever it was. But it seemed like a lot of people I was seeing had one specific task that they used the touch bar for. They didn't use it for a whole bunch of things, just one thing, and they're going to miss it.
Yeah, and they really love that one thing. Let's see here. Tom Walker saying, curious if 32 gigabytes, let alone 64, makes any difference with typical video editing workflows. So, look, I'm no expert, but it depends on what you mean by typical. Like, if you're making YouTube videos, probably not. But if you're making long videos, like documentary work or movies or something, and you have, I don't know, 5 streams of 4K video on the same timeline, and you have all these effects, yeah, it's going to make a huge difference. Absolutely. You really don't run into any issues if you're doing content that's shorter than an hour. I think you're probably going to be more than fine with 32 gigabytes. But it's nice to have the option of 64 gigs. And this is the thing. I just feel like Apple just crammed in everything. Like anything that you could have wanted is here and more. I mean, we weren't even expecting to get the M1 Max. And then you add to that like the fast charging and just all the little details that Apple worked in. I'm just very happy, in case you couldn't tell. The battery life is drastically improved. So now you get up to 21 hours of Apple TV app movie playback. I think the last MacBook Pro was maybe 13 hours. I'd have to go look that up. It's 17 hours for the 14-inch MacBook Pro, by the way. So 21 for the 16 and 17 for the 14-inch. And that's for movie playback. So they maximized the battery size for the 16-inch MacBook Pro. They put a 100-watt-hour battery in there. It's unfortunate that this battery couldn't be made larger, but if they make it any bigger, then you can't take it on an airplane. And I'm going to guess that's why they went with 100 watt-hours, which is kind of a bummer that airplane policy is dictating how large our laptop batteries are, because I'm sure Apple would make it bigger if they could, but then you can't take it on an airplane. So here's where things get a little bit interesting, and here's where we start having some divergence between the 16 and 14-inch MacBook Pros, okay? So the 16-inch, let me see here. Where am I? The 16-inch comes with the 140-watt USB-C charger and the MagSafe wire that you get with it, which is reinforced by like a sheathing they put over it to give it some extra durability. That is a USB-C cable that you can replace if you want. It's $50, which is kind of cool. They also made the
$50.
Are you surprised?
And people are complaining about the cloth.
You get a cloth for $20 or a cable for $50. I kind of feel like the cable might be a better deal because the cloth is $19. It's like it's just a cloth.
The cable. I like the fact that it's user replaceable, but why does it use that horrible chunky connector? Instead, because you remember the later design for the MagSafe was it ran parallel to the side of the computer.
Yeah.
It was much more slimline. It was like a short barrel.
Yeah.
Rather than a big chunky brick. You know what I'm saying?
Well, are you talking about the actual piece that connects to the Mac or the actual power brick? Okay. I feel like this one is really narrow and long. And is that what you don't like?
Well, no, there was actually a different design. Like the originally when MagSafe came out, it was like this new MagSafe that they have on these M1 Macs, where it's square with a LED in the middle. But then the second version, or whatever it was, they had a much thinner, rounded, almost like a pencil, with a flat side where the magnets were.
Yeah.
So it was much, much slimmer.
See, I feel like that's what we have here.
No. They've gone back to the old, chunkier version.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought, because I'm looking at this picture, I'm like, that looks super slim. All right. And if you look at the MagSafe 3 ports, you could see it's about the same height as a USB-C port, which is really small. So I think this thing looks bigger on the pictures than it actually is. It actually is going to be, because when I'm looking at the pictures on their website, you can see it's relatively the same size as a Thunderbolt 4/USB-C port.
The plants must have eaten.
We just got receipts here. Oh, you can't find it. Shocking. It's probably under one of your plants.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. So the 14-inch MacBook Pro comes with a 67-watt adapter. If you want, you can upgrade that to 96 watts. It costs $20. I would recommend that you do that, because only the 96-watt adapter will fast charge the 14-inch MacBook Pro. And the cool thing about this is, well, with the 14-inch, is that you can fast charge from any USB-C port. That's cool. And like I said before, if that's not possible with the 16-inch, with the 16-inch, you have to have the 140-watt adapter, and you can only fast charge via MagSafe. I think probably because the USB-C ports on the MacBook Pro can't handle wattage above a certain level. That's my guess. I'm not sure what the standard is for the new spec, but so there you go. As far as ports go, we got a whole slew of great new ports. We got SDXC. We got UHS 2, which is the standard for this SD card slot, which means up to 312 megabytes per second. Some people were upset that Apple didn't adopt UHS 3, which is the new standard that's been out for a while, which allows for up to 624 megabytes per second. I'm not surprised they didn't do that, because Apple's style is not really to be cutting edge on the ports. So
I was going to say, all of these ports you've mentioned, they've all been, and the Wi-Fi and a whole bunch of other stuff has been the previous version, not the latest greatest.
Yeah, that's right. I know, it's funny. Luke Miani, am I saying his last name right? One of his leaks that he had was that Apple was going to include a UHS 2 card slot and not UHS 3, and he was celebratory on Twitter today. I'm not bashing the guy, but I'm like, dude, I mean, it was kind of obvious. you first of all, it's a 50-50 chance. You could have guessed, and you would have got pretty close. But also, Apple.
So I detect some professional jealousy.
No. Look,
I think I do.
I'm just saying that if you're going to have a leak, it should be something that you really couldn't have guessed. Like when I had that absolutely ridiculous leak that I got from one of our listeners, that Apple was preparing to have a mobile store come to your house, and I was like, I don't know if this is true. I'm just going to tell you what I heard. And then like 3 months later, it actually happened. I'm like, that's a leak. It's like, okay, someone gave me some inside information, and you couldn't have guessed that was going to happen. But if you're like, I suspect that there's going to be a UHS 2 card slot on here, it's like, I felt like that was pretty obvious. But no hate for Luke. I think he got some other stuff right too, but I have to go back and check. HDMI port. Now, I know most people don't care about this, but the HDMI port on here is only HDMI 2.0. Apple could have put a HDMI 2.1 port, so you could have got that 120 hertz refresh action on your brand new LG C1 OLED that you just purchased. I'm talking about me, that's right. But alas, you can't do that because this is only HDMI 2.0. Save themselves some nickels there. And then you get Thunderbolt 4, USB 4, each with up to 40 gigabytes of transfer speed there. So there it is. There is pretty much everything that you need to know about the MacBook Pro, including some stuff that you probably hadn't heard before. Let's see. We're going to talk about the new thermal system. Oh, yeah, we should at least talk about this, Lewis. I think this is worth at least discussing because it seemed to be a centerpiece of the design for the new MacBook Pro.
Yeah, so the new 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros include entirely new designs, of course, that we've been talking about for what seems like hours now, and a new chassis. And one improvement is that It's got improved thermals. Apple's new thermal system in its latest high-end MacBooks is capable of moving 50% more air at lower fan speeds. There's another percentage. 50% more air at lower fan
That's
speeds.
a lot of
What
air.
does that mean? What a complete load of nonsense, right?
What are you talking about? It's 50% more air. Go like this, and then do it 50% faster. That's a lot of air.
I'm sure it's just volume of air. I mean, it makes sense.
I think a lot of our listeners would prefer if you expelled 50% less air into your microphone while we were doing the show. And some would prefer 50% more. I mean, it really depends on who you ask, honestly.
Well, I can, I've been doing 50%, or maybe actually 100% more with my nostril noises, right?
Oh my god!
I would prefer 100% more, but that's just what I'm into. Sorry, Lewis, go ahead.
So it's greatly improved thermal design, and but the thing is, the chips are so efficient. Apple actually says the fans never turn on for tasks done daily. Apple Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering, John Turnus, touted this during this week's Apple event. The new chassis was an intense focus on performance and utility, precisely machined around an advanced thermal system.
There it is. That's the line. That's the line.
Machined.
Now, this is a big deal because a lot of MacBook Pros have had heat issues. I mean, I call mine the 16-inch. I call it the NAD burner because you cannot put that thing on your lap with pants on, let alone shorts, and look, I'm sorry, it's just the truth, and not singe your nards. It's gonna happen. That thing gets so hot you can't even touch it to your lap. Like usually, what I do is I put a pillow from my couch on my lap, and then I put the MacBook Pro on top of the pillow because it gets too dang hot. And so with these new fans and with the extra efficiency from the M1 Pro / Max, it's just gonna be a lot cooler. It would be cool to not have the fans come on, but I hope that it just runs so cool that you can actually bring the lap back to laptop again, make laptops happen again, right? I'm trying to come up with a phrase on the fly here. Just something so that you don't sterilize yourself because the current MacBook Pros burn way too hot. And a lot of people were pissed, and rightly so, that they would thermal throttle. So you'd buy this really powerful machine. I mean, remember the video of Dave TD putting the MacBook Pro in his freezer? That's been going on for years. And so it was so cathartic to see Turnus say, yeah, we built the MacBook Pro around a new thermal system. And it seems like the M1 Max 16-inch MacBook Pro was really beefed up. It weighs more, right? So it's really, they've built this with thermals in mind, which is really great to know. Let's see here. Okay, that was Apple Silicon. Let's talk about wait times, LK. We know everyone wants one of these things, and if you didn't already pre-order, well, I'm sorry.
Christmas is ruined.
Dude, you're getting a Dell. That's all I got to say to you. Because you're not getting a Mac, not by Christmas.
That's right. So if you order the base 14-inch MacBook Pro with 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage from Apple.com on Monday, it'll arrive somewhere between October 26th and November the 2nd. That's about as quick as anyone can get the new notebook. The launch date is October 26th. But upgrade the storage to 1 terabyte and the arrival window slips to between November 2nd and November 9th. The same is true for upgrading the M1 Pro to the M1 Max processor. But even a maxed out one is delayed until the 10th to the 17th. So they're slipping fast.
Yeah,
that was Monday, right? I mean, that's when that story was written. So God knows what it is now. I think it's even longer now.
I'm
right?
looking at it right now, right this moment. So they're saying November 19th and November 29th for the base, or for all base level MacBook Pros, 16-inch, excuse me. For the 14-inch, a little bit earlier, November 12th through the November 19th. So it looks like the 16-inch is more popular. Let's just go in here and let's try to change it a little bit. So let's add some more memory. What happens? Oh, yeah. If you change the memory to 64 gigs, now you're waiting to November 30th to December 7th. So it goes up 2 weeks. Let's change the SSD. Okay, the SSD doesn't change anything. So it looks like if you just buy what they have available, then you get the machine sooner. November 19th through November 29th. If you modify anything, if it's a build to order, now you're waiting November 30th through December 7th. So you can still get it by Christmas if you want to. But now for me, I'm going to be waiting until the new year. January 1st.
What? I think you should order one live on the air right now.
Let me get
Just
out my credit card
Do it
number and
live.
type it in here live on the air. So I had we have a whole army of geniuses who watch this show. And I've gotten friendly with many of them, and it's great. Some of you I've hung out with on Twitch, and
I see. That's why I gotta wait.
And so that's why I gotta wait. I gotta wait for the discount, that 25% discount, to become available. I could do a 15% discount now, but I'm like, do I really need to have the machine before the first of the year? I'm like, what am I gonna do? Review it? MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee, he's gonna have his MacBook Pro. He probably had it 2 days ago. He's prepping his release. I mean, Justine, all of them, all the popular YouTubers already have their coverage locked and loaded. So for me, I'm like, well, I'm not going to probably make any content on the MacBook Pro about the MacBook Pro. So I'm willing to wait if I could save. So the one I'm going to get is the 16-inch with 32 gigs of RAM and the 2 terabyte SSD. Now it's $38.99 in that configuration, but with the discount, I think it's like $3,100. So you save a lot of money. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention just real fast is about pricing. I was actually stunned by the pricing. I thought it was a lot lower than it was going to be. And if you do the math, what you notice is like the base prices of the MacBook Pro came up, but the higher-end MacBook Pro prices actually came down. So if you're not going to get the base level MacBook Pro, you're actually getting a better deal than you would have otherwise. Like the price of the RAM is less, the price of the SSD storage is less. So it's kind of a smarter deal to get one of the higher level machines if you're trying to get the best value that you can. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm going 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte SSD. I feel like for a 4K video editing machine, that's what you need. And then once I get this machine, I can make my grand return to YouTube, because I've been absent there for I think 9 months. I took a 9-month, 2-week break, and it's time to make my comeback. Let's see here. Before we move on, I feel like we should do the giveaway real quick, Lewis, because we've been going on and on and on about this for a while. Do you want to do the giveaway real quick?
Yeah, so I think we mentioned this last week. We're still running the same giveaway. iPhone 13 case bundle from Smartish. Go to the homepage there, Cult of Mac, scroll down to the giveaway section. You can enter to win a 5-pack of stuff from Smartish. You get one winner gets the Wallet Slayer Volume 1 card case that holds 3 cards. Wallet Slayer. Grip Monk with MagSafe Slim case. Gripzilla with MagSafe Armor case. And the Cable Wrangler Magnetic Cord Organizer and the Crown Jewel, Joule, fast charging cable. Yeah, that's one of those. Yeah, so
it's a pretty nice bundle of stuff.
I think this one's wrapping up in the next day or so. So better get in there and enter as soon as you can.
So I'll put a link in the show notes. I put a link in the chat, and if you're interested, I would just say get in there and give it a shot, because you got a chance. I'm saying you got a chance. So get on in there, enter yourself to win all these great cases. I still need a case for my iPhone. I'm still going nudie here.
Still barebacking it? Me too, man.
Yeah, still barebacking it, and it's been nerve-wracking, you know?
I don't think I can bring myself to put a case on this thing. I love looking at the steel.
I do too. I like to feel the steel, as the song goes. So, but I do have a case arriving on Saturday. I got the Rhino Shield crash guard on the way. I just ordered it from Amazon,
Shocker.
but they take forever to get their stock to Amazon. Whenever a new phone comes out, a lot of the case makers have to wait till it comes out before they can make their case, and then they start selling it 6 weeks after the phone comes out. So you got to be extra careful. But the credit card that I use I realized I got to do a whole episode on the credit cards that I use for tech purchases. So the credit card that I'm using, it gives you an extra 2 years of warranty on any purchase. And I didn't realize this. They give you 4 months of damage and theft protection. So if you buy your phone and it shoots out of your pants at Mach 2 and hits the concrete floor right after you buy it and breaks, they'll pay to give you a new phone. That's a pretty serious perk. I mean, or someone steals it or something, which happens from time to time. Believe you me, you might want to get some insurance for that. All right. Oh my gosh, dude, we've been going so long. And there's still a lot of people here watching live. I can't believe how many people are left because we've just been going on and on and on about the MacBook Pro. I feel like there's some stuff that I probably missed, but if I could just put a little bow on it and just say, Apple's back. Apple's back, baby. They're finally building the machines that we actually want. And again, I said this earlier, they just hit all the right notes. TC, he was playing that keyboard like a maestro. He came out there and they just gave us everything that we could have wanted. This is one of the most exciting Macs that Apple has ever released, and I really am excited to get my hands on one. Sorry, Leander, go ahead.
Nothing. I was going to say about the feet. Do you like the feet?
I like the feet. Yeah, you mean how
it's
they
not
kind
those
of like
big rubber ones? Remember that one leak that had like it said it was going to have like long rubber ones on the bottom? Do you remember that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, proven wrong.
I kind of like those little feet down there. The metal protrudes out with little rubber feet. And I feel like that will make the rubber more resilient because like what's happened to me in the past is they just have like those little pads at the bottom, and then the pads get pushed around so much they end up coming loose, and then you got one of the pads missing. And I feel like the way these are shaped now, they'll hold the pads in place. Look at all those beautiful ports, Lewis. Look at all those big, beautiful ports. It's got the best ports. Don't you agree?
Didn't you think it was kind of funny watching them basically talk about how great it is that they've got these ports? I mean, I was chuckling at that. You know, they totally like, oh, and these function keys are beautiful, and they replaced the touch bar.
Yeah,
it
was so
really
casual too, right?
Yeah,
and anticlimactic.
Yeah, we've all these great ports so that professionals can do the things they want to do.
Yeah, right. The port you've always wanted, the SD card slot, made for professionals.
Yeah,
made for professionals like you.
Very good straight face on that.
That's hilarious.
All that delivery.
It's hilarious. Yeah, so, it's interesting. In a way, it's like the old guard is out. Bob Mansfield has moved on. And Johnny Ive has moved on. Phil moved on. It's like, and maybe having some new blood in there is like, it's been maybe a good thing because we're seeing some positive moves in the right direction for sure on the phones, on the iPads, on all the different hardware. It's like, oh, practicality, return to practicality. Okay, where were we? That's everything you could possibly want to know about the MacBook Pro and some stuff that you probably didn't want to know. Let's talk about, where are we?
Apple Music gets a voice plan, but just $4.99 a month.
Dude, this was hilarious. I thought
it was clever. Really clever.
Oh my god! I thought they were pulling a prank. I thought I was like, oh, is this April Fool's Day joke? I was going, what are they doing? They're gaslighting us. What are they doing? They're gonna and I misunderstood. I thought they were gonna charge $5 extra for this. I'm like, it's already supposed to work that way.
That's what he should have done. Yeah, if Steve Jobs had been around, that's what he'd done.
That's what I was like. Are they? It's got to be a joke. And I thought they were gonna say, oh no, actually, it's we're just letting you know. But so yeah, it was kind of surprising when they said no, actually, it's a infuriating new inexpensive level. Sure to drive you mad.
So Apple Music gets a voice plan that costs just $4.99 a month, and I think my tweet said something like, I can't believe they're trying to charge $5 a month for only Siri access. You'd have to pay me. This wasn't even a joke. This was serious. I was actually thinking to myself, how much would they have to pay me to use a service that I could only control with Siri? Think of all the aggravation you'd have to go through, making your blood boil when you ask for one song and it plays you a completely different other song or it just can't find what you're looking for. I'm like, they'd have to pay me $100 a month. You would literally have to pay me $100 a month to use this service, to waste my time and my precious hours of life that I'll never get back arguing with Siri to get it to work for $5 a month. I don't know who's going to pay for this plan. I think it's ludicrous.
I find it works fine on my HomePod.
Not the wrapper. That's actually cool. Yeah, what?
Siri works fine on my HomePod. I use it all the time, every day. So do the kids. We play a ton of music in the kitchen on the HomePod. There's only a couple of songs. For some reason, it won't play the Grateful Dead's Terrapin Station.
There you go.
Play Terrapin Station by the Grateful Dead. It plays something else completely different. And it will not, no matter how carefully I say it, it will not play that one single song. And I don't know why. But
because it's Siri. That's why.
Everything else pretty much works fine. You can tell it to play radio stations. You can tell it to play podcasts. It all works great.
Try telling it to play the Rapin' Station.
The what?
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 What are you listening to?
Do I have to?
Huh?
What? Go ahead. What?
What? I'm just saying. I bet you what is going on is it's trying to read that word and mispronouncing it in its head and thinking about it and thinking that you're asking for something different. I have the exact same problem. I try to use Siri to play a specific song many times, and I get something completely different. Same thing happens with Apple TV. It drives me batty, actually. And I agree with Irfan on this. I just the thought of only having access to that through Siri. I mean that to me, I would not pay. You would have to pay me to do it. And I do use it. I do use Siri to call up music from time to time. But the number of the percentage of errors is so great that it's frankly shocking.
Huh.
And the idea of saying, hey, dummy, play some music for hiking, and I mean, the odds that that's going to be a song that I want to hear are about 1 in a billion. They could have their own
that's
slide.
a bizarre
1 in a
request.
billion.
Music for hiking. Who do you think has optimized the catalog for hiking?
Well, I mean, think give me one thing where you can say, I want a playlist for X, Y, or Z. One where you think that the first song that they played would be something you want to hear.
Well, I to be honest, I haven't done that kind of stuff. Usually I do it based on bands or genres, right?
Yeah,
and
me too.
It seems to work fine for me.
I don't know. Every time I even say something like play, music by some band, or some artist, a lot of times it'll play like 2 or 3 songs with that person. Then it starts playing songs by other artists that aren't even related to that artist. And I'm like, what are you doing
that's
to
a
me?
bit bizarre, yeah. That sounds like it's made a radio station.
Yeah, but
Like
why?
a Pandora thing.
Why? When I say, play songs by Waylon Jennings, why is the third song like a George Jones song?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Because it's Apple Music.
I mean,
because Spotify is superior in every way.
It drives me crazy.
You're making me lean in and go full Binance on this. You just gotta use Spotify. It's not that hard. Just use Spotify and your problems will be solved.
Sheesh.
That's why I use Spotify, man, because it just works better. And it was hilarious the moment that Apple announced their special playlists by the people who work in Cupertino who know music better than you do are going to tell you what music you got to listen to. I was like, dude, Spotify can do that no problem. You just create a radio station based off a song, and it will play you music that sounds similar to the music that you just listened to, and it's actually pretty good. The other day, I was listening to that song, that old Western song. How does it go? Rollin', 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 keep them doggies rollin', ride. Don't ask me why, dude. I actually really like that song. I don't know. What's it from?
The Blues Brothers, right? It was at least it was featuring the Blues Brothers. I don't know who recorded the original song.
I don't know either, but it came on one of my mixes, and I was like, oh, I like the vibe of this Western song, and I kind of was like getting into like old like American Western music, so I created a radio station based off that song, and Spotify was great, man. It created like this whole great playlist of all this interesting like Western music of old cowboys singing songs about the moon and Chile and stuff, and that was cool. Anyway, just imagine only being able to use Siri when you're trying to request a specific song. If you're asking for a genre, it probably is fine. If you're asking for a band, it's probably fine. The problem that I always run into is when you're asking for something specific and then Siri just gets really confused. Like if you're asking for a movie from a specific movie score and Siri just plays you something completely different. It's like a rap song. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. Like when I'm trying to pick a song that is something my kids want to listen to from a Disney movie, and then it plays me like some weird rap song. And now, to your point, Leander, you literally can't get it working because you're only paying for the Siri version. What are you supposed to do? You can't fix it. You're stuck.
Yeah, right. I imagine I can totally understand this. For some people, I can see that it might be frustrating, but like a Siri that plays rap instead of Disney tunes, that sounds perfect to me.
Yeah.
My God, all the kids' songs I had to listen to when the kids were young. Thank God they've got decent music taste now. Influenced mostly by me.
You trained them well. All right.
I actually chucked a tape out of the car one time. I couldn't take it anymore. I threw it out the window.
That's like a scene from the El Caney movie where like dad gets so mad that the kids have bad taste, he just grabs the tape and chucks it out the window. Right. That's literally a scene from the El Caney movie. All right, let's keep moving on here. let's talk about HomePod because we got some lovely updates, Lewis. You're going to poo-poo this. I already know you're going to poo-poo all over this, but I actually thought that these were some nice updates.
An amazing update. HomePod mini buyers can now choose from yellow, orange, and blue.
That's right. That's true.
That is amazing, isn't it?
You know what, though? That orange is beautiful. I really like that orange a lot. It is a bummer we didn't get anything actually useful or that they didn't introduce. I was kind of hoping we're going to get like an actual HomePod update of some kind. But no, they've scrubbed HomePod from their website entirely. It's gone now.
They busted out the house set once again just to say, oh, now available in 3 colors extra. I mean, first off, why only 3 colors? Why didn't they just give you like 10 different colors? I mean, were you kind of surprised? It didn't seem odd to say, oh, there's 3 other colors in addition to space gray and white.
It does seem a little strange that they didn't do more. Maybe 5. I agree with you.
I mean,
I also just think
it's 5 now, right? You got black, white, yellow, orange.
Yeah, you got 5 total. I guess. Yeah.
It seemed bizarre to me. A very bizarre choice to only have and like no new features, nothing, right? Nothing else. But listen to this amazing marketing from Apple. With new vibrant colors, HomePod Mini fits in even more places and delivers amazing sound, the power of Siri, and simple and secure smart home controls, all while protecting your privacy.
Yeah, again, it's an oddball scenario that HomePod was discontinued and now we're just left with these tiny speakers that, I mean, they sound decent for their size. I mean, I have them sitting in front of me. I like them, but they don't sound nearly as good as HomePod, and they're not as versatile as HomePod is for sure. So I think their whole HomePod strategy is kind of strange right now. It seems like there's more that's going to happen. I've mentioned this on the show before that we just don't know about yet because like HomePod Mini and that's it. Why even keep HomePod going at all?
It's a lower price, I think $100. People aren't gonna. They're like, it's almost an impulse purchase, isn't it? People will go out and they'll buy one. They won't think too much about it. All the nice new colors makes it even more tempting. As they get more HomePods in more houses, maybe the whole ecosystem will improve. I agree with you though. I do miss the full size one. The full size one sounds awesome and amazing. It was a great product.
Every time I think about that, I just kind of my mind is boggled by the fact that they killed that thing. I mean,
I guess it wasn't selling, right? So, even if it's great, if it's not selling.
It's just weird that they said that it wasn't selling, and yet it has such a huge following. HomePod content is popular. People love talking about the HomePod. People who love HomePods really love HomePods. And so it had maybe it was a small but passionate fan base. I just think it's so weird to be in a position where you love a product so much and they get rid of it because it's not popular. And you're like, what? This is a really great product. Why don't you just slash the prices or something? Do something else to make it sell, better. Hey, quick comment here from, did I miss it? I think Jeff. Yeah, Jeff Drew and Lewis. He says, an orange HomePod would go perfect in that room you're in. Match the bedspread, match the pillow, that crumpled up pillow behind you. Yeah, but the whole motif in that room is orange.
Angry orange, yeah.
It is blue to match the milk
Someone asked if you're on the set of... What was that? Sorry.
The blue to match the milk crate.
Should have never turned off the blur.
Somebody just asked if you're live from the set of Boogie Nights.
Oh my God!
Let's reenact a scene from Boogie Nights, Lewis. Come on, let's give the people what.
Let's not.
What? All right. Last story. Well, not the last story. God, we're going so long. Holy moly! Let's talk about upgraded AirPods. I was super excited to see this. I was really so happy to see the AirPods, Leander.
Yeah, right. So exactly, it's a major refresh. Signature earbuds, 3rd generation, spatial audio, Dolby Atmos. It's got dynamic head tracking, and it comes with a redesign that makes them a lot more like the iPods Pro, but without the silicone ear tips. They're not the entry-level ones that I think people were expecting. They're keeping the old ones, the AirPods 2, around that are still available in the lineup. They seem to have more in common with the high-end AirPods Pro, they especially with the price, they cost $179. So what's that? How much is that cheaper? $70 cheaper than the AirPods Pro? And the shipping, the pre-order start on Monday, and the shipping. Oh, what is this? This is all outdated.
Last Monday.
Yeah. So I thought they looked really cool. I think they look really, really interesting. The price could be a little bit cheaper, don't you think? I guess they will. They'll definitely come down in price. They'll get reduced by third-party retailers for a start. I bet you'll see them for about $150. Soon enough. And AirPods are just so great. They're such great headphones. And like Apple said during the presentation, they're the world's most popular headphones. I thought this looked like a solid, new entry.
Yeah, I love this design. They could have changed nothing else and just given us this new design with the shorter, less dorky stems. I cannot tell you how many people I see on television wearing AirPods now in media interviews, and their friggin' AirPods are they're all over the place. They're sticking out this way, sticking out that way, sticking upwards. It's like, how hard is it to put an AirPod in your ear and have the stems facing downward? But those stems are so dorky. I really just don't like them at all. All I wanted, and I've been saying this for the last year, just make an updated design that makes them look like AirPods Pro. Don't give them those stupid silicone tips and make the stem shorter. And TC listened. He listened. That's exactly what we got. I would buy these on aesthetic alone, just to not look like a huge nerd wearing the regular HomePods or AirPods. Sometimes I wear the HomePods too. I have this whole thing that I designed. They sound very good when they're right close.
I can't really jam them into my ears. But...
I built a holster, so I could put them in there. I'll show it to you guys on the show sometime. But then all the times I wear the AirPods, and this update, just like with the MacBook Pro, this is exactly what I was hoping for. Exactly. And Lewis, they said they connect to your iPhone much faster, which makes a big.
Did they say that?
Yes, they did.
I missed that.
Yeah, they did.
Really?
And,
so they're even faster than the AirPods too?
I guess so. And then, of course,
Wow.
you get all the spatial audio stuff. So I'm going to be ordering a pair of these as well.
Ah, jeez.
Well, quick plug while we're here.
Sure.
We've got some really nice cases, AirPods 3 cases already in the Cult of Mac store. That's store.cultofmac.com. And it's on the front page. Up right at the very top, there's a link to all these cases. There's some really, really nice ones. They're super fun.
Yeah.
That is fast action.
Look at that. Oh, I'm scrolling through them right
cheap
now.
Too. Cheap. They're all under
inexpensive. High quality, inexpensive.
Right. Yeah. Beg your pardon. Yeah, they look really fun. I really like these. I'm going to get some sent to myself for sure.
Yeah, I like this Game Boy one is cool.
Do you have your AirPods in a case right now?
Do I?
I do.
Oh.
Yeah, I've had mine in a case the whole time.
Yeah, me too. I find it super, it was absolutely necessary once the wife and I both had AirPods because
keep it differentiated.
God, yeah.
Who's. I got one of the ones the El Largo ones there. This is $12.99. It's a silicone case. It's made of black silicone. It stays on really well. I mean, it just slips on and it just stays on, and it totally protects it. I like it a lot. Yeah, and I can totally tell by whose are mine.
Store.cultamac.com. Store.cultamac.com. Someone is saying. Martin is saying they don't have noise canceling, right? No, they don't. He says I need that. Oh, really? I really. That's the thing that's the reason why I didn't want them to add the silicone tips, is because I really wanted to have the situational awareness without having to have the noise canceling and the transparency and all that stuff. So if you're into that, if that's your bag, baby, that's cool. But I like them just the way they are. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Jameson is saying the case is smaller than the Pros. Oh, really? It looks like it's the same size. I guess it just looks like it's the same size as the Pros, but apparently it's a little smaller, according to Jameson. Is he right? I have no idea.
Why would that be?
I don't know. They may not even be. I mean, Jameson could be trolling us. He could be drinking. I mean, there could be many reasons why this information's not right.
They are MagSafe though, right? The
yes,
case
they
is
are.
MagSafe now.
Yes.
And now they're shipping the Pros with MagSafe cases. I love this MagSafe
That's
stuff.
actually a great point. So now it's just MagSafe compatible. That's kind of cool, isn't it?
It's got to be handy.
Yeah, it's super handy. I love just plopping mine down on the MagSafe charging pad for sure. Okay, Cal, we're running so long. There was something else I feel like I was going to mention.
Yeah, we probably just better cut that last story then.
But this is the best part of the whole show.
Yeah, just cut that last
just
story.
The best part of the whole show. So,
you've been waiting for
those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, okay? Oh, actually, I was going to mention one more thing. Someone was mentioning what would it be like if Apple released a home theater setup? Dude, I'll tell you what it would be like. It would be like this right here. There's a system that just came out from Sony called the HT-A9. It is a wireless speaker system with a wireless sub. So you just plug everything in to the wall for power, and then you place these around your TV. And I've been watching reviews on these, and people love them. People love them.
They sound
They sound incredible. I know, the HT-A9. It sounds like something out of Star Wars.
Yeah.
But this is what Apple could have done, and maybe they will do eventually. I doubt it, but this is exactly what they would look like. They would be minimalist. They would be beautiful, and they would have incredible sound. There'd be no wires. This is what I was saying I wanted for HomePod. This could have been HomePod. They could have just had you buy a HomePod in a set, sold you a subwoofer, a HomePod subwoofer, and you could have had full-on theater quality sound. That would have been amazing. But instead, they retired HomePod, which was a huge mistake, in my opinion. And now if you want a wireless system, you have to buy the HT-A9, which retails for $1,800. And if you want the subwoofer, that's an extra. They have two different versions. So I think one is $300, one is $500, or one is $500 and one is $700. So like the subwoofers are expensive. So you got to buy a set, but people are loving this audio system. It's wireless, It's easy to use, and it sounds incredible. So I'm thinking about maybe getting one of these.
4 speakers, and it's $1,800.
Yeah, well, they're brand new, and I'm on Sony's website, so it's full price here. But
I mean,
yeah,
how much did HomePod cost when it finally died? $299? Did they drop it down to $299?
Yeah, yep.
So that's 3, 6,
cheaper.
9, 12.
Yeah. It's a lot cheaper. That's what I'm saying, Lewis. Big opportunity. They could have pivoted, made these things perfect for home theaters, but nope.
Maybe that's what they're going to do. They're going to come out with the HomePod Max system.
That would be cool. That would be really cool. So that was one of the best parts about the HomePod is they're just so versatile. You could use them for music. You put them in a stereo pair. Now you have a really killer virtualized surround sound system. I mean, I still use mine in front of my TV for sound, and they sound amazing. And the virtualized surround sound, it sounds incredible. I mean, it's not as good as a $10,000 audio system, but for most people, I feel like it's good enough, and it sounds incredible. I love it. That's why they sit in front of my TV, even to this day. But just want to put the HT-A9 on your radar. If you're looking for a wireless, high-quality home theater setup, consider this.
You've got $1,800.
You got to have $1,800 plus the subwoofer. So you're looking at like $2,400. They do sell them in a set, too, so if you want to get them as a set, you can do that. Okay, last story of the day.
Yeah, we don't got time.
I think we can make the time, Lewis. Make the time happen. Okay, so I was going through the Apple checkout process. And as I was going through, so I'm going to go ahead and just add this to my bag, right? This kind of thing is my bag, baby. I add this thing to my bag, and I'm scrolling down through these accessories that are huge, and I was like, WTHE double hockey sticks is going on here. Apple has a new item. Well, what is this? Oh, yes. What is this? Oh, my. The Apple polishing cloth. Made with soft, non-abrasive material, the polishing cloth safely and effectively cleans any Apple display. I could not believe what I was seeing. Did Apple just release a brand new high-performance polishing cloth? What a novel idea that is, Lewis. What a great idea that is. Boy,
who would have ever thought of something like that?
They just never run out of good ideas over there at Apple. And I thought, wait a second. I think someone else did this exact same thing in the year 2015, 6 years ago. And the funny part is people have been going nuts over this cloth, which, by the way, is $19 for a single cloth. A single cloth.
Just one?
You get one cloth. Now, look, I have it on good authority that this Apple logo that's stamped in the bottom is stamped by TC himself on every single one. So you do get that. But other than that, I'm going to guess this cloth doesn't perform as well as Coat Cloth. I'm just going to put that out there. And with Coat Cloth, you get a whole pack of them for $23. You get our high-performance cloths sized for your hand so that you don't have skin accidentally touching your screen. I mean, there's a lot of thought that went into Coat Cloth, okay? Not a ton, but a lot. Okay. And when I saw Apple marketing an overpriced cleaning cloth, I lost it, Lewis. I was like, that's my idea. That was my idea first. How dare they copy my idea? And the crazy part is now these things are sold out for 10 to 12 weeks. People are buying these left and right. And that's when it occurred to me. I'm like, Lewis, I got Sherlocked. I never thought.
You sure did.
I never thought it would happen to me. I mean, I'm not a developer. I'm not making apps that Apple can steal. And now you should know they're stealing hardware too. They're stealing actual products too.
Have your sales collapsed then? Are you going to be like out in the streets?
Well, I'm going to have to sell one, possibly two of my children now, unless everyone goes to cultcloth.co and purchases my cloth instead of the Apple cloth. And by the way, my cloth is in stock. We just restocked. And Apple is sold out for 10 to 12 weeks. Let me tell you why Apple is sold out. Because never in 1,000 years did they think that enough people would ever consider buying a $19 polishing cloth for them to actually run out of the stock that they had. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, I saw people.
The story took off.
And then the story took off and everyone wanted to have one. I saw people buying the Pro XDR display because it comes with a free Apple polishing cloth. So they spent $5,000 just to get the stupid cloth.
That is not a good strategy.
Seems like a bad strategy to me. But funny enough, so I wrote a story on Cult to Mac about this, and that got Cult Cloth some attention. But, we've been talking about Cult Cloth for 6 years, and it just keeps selling. Like, even when I don't talk about it, it just keeps selling. I think people like the product and maybe like the idea of having a high-performance cloth that's not some cheap garbage that you bought from Amazon or that came for free with your glasses or something. The only thing I will caveat is this cloth that Apple is selling, I think, is specifically made for that $1,000 coating that you get on the Pro XDR display. So Apple says do not use any cloth but theirs on the Pro XDR display with the special coating. And I would echo that sentiment so that none of you sue me. I don't know what this cloth is like. I haven't tried it yet. It looks very similar to our high-performance polishing cloth. It's a large polishing cloth, larger than this. And this type of cloth is called a suede cloth, so it doesn't have like the kinds of fibers that would necessarily go and grab like the glass fibers and pull them off. I'm gonna guess that's what this says. I don't know, but until I see it, it's hard to say. But I would say if you're spending $6,000 on a monitor that has a special $1,000 coating on it, I would probably only ever use the Apple polishing.
Well, they have a special support document, on the knowledge base, and it has like a big box. Like a big warning box. It says, do not use any other cloth on your nano texture display. And if you lose it, contact us to get a replacement at, $20, of course. Or
and if you lose it, you just need to buy a new XDR display with a free cloth.
Right.
And then you'll have one for both your monitors.
I was doing some, I tried to do some searching around to see, what this cloth is made of and about nanotexture displays. And of course, Apple is the only company that offers nanotexture displays right now, and also the only one that has this cloth. So there are no other competing products. I was trying to get one of our writers to do a roundup of alternatives to this cloth, but there aren't any. That's all they'll let you use. So you can't use a nano. You can't, like a micro. What are they called again?
Microfiber cloth.
Microfiber cloth, yeah, you can't use a microfiber cloth. That's a big no-no.
Yeah, I can see why too, especially with Cult Cloth, because, well, we have different kinds, right? And one of the kinds, it has, like when you're rubbing it across your fingers, you can actually feel it grabbing onto your fingertips, and
like a gecko.
Kinda, yeah. And it's very weird. It's like when you're doing it, it almost feels like static. It's like holding onto your fingertips, and it's picking up on like the creases in your fingertips, which is what it does with your monitors and your keyboards and everything else. It's one of the reasons why it works so well. But with that specific coating, you may not want fibers picking up the glass particles that they use on the screen. I'm just guessing. I don't know. But so yeah, for the $6,000 XDR display, I would say probably use what Apple says that you should use. But funny enough, for their regular XDR display, they're like, you can use a microfiber cloth and just spray some water on it and wipe it down. It's like, oh, okay, so it's really just the hyper-specific $6,000 Pro XDR display with the glass coating on it that they want you to use a special cloth for. So clearly, there's something about that coating that they're worried is going to come off. So they don't want you touching it with anything that's not Apple tested, Apple sanctioned, Apple manufactured. But I'm going to guess this is the exact same cloth that we sell. Now, that's just a guess, caveat. Do what Apple tells you to do. Don't screw up your monitor and don't come sue me. So Jeff, let Force say Nilay Patel noted on Gruber's podcast this week. Oh, they're in the same podcast together? I'll have to go listen right away. That the original iPad came with a cloth, never sold separately. So Apple has been working on this since 2010. Yeah.
It did?
Maybe. I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah.
Are you waiting for the iFixit teardown
of
the polishing cloth?
We're gonna have to call iFixit and get them on that right away. Somebody was saying what you could do. Now, I would never advocate for this. Buy the Pro XDR display, get the Apple cloth, and then return a Cult cloth in the box with the Apple XDR display. I would never do that. But I think you would be losing out in that scenario because you're walking away with the inferior cloth there. So I wouldn't do that for that reason. Let's see here. So there you go. That's my I got Sherlocked story. And a lot of people were asking me how I felt about it. And I was stunned, of course, because I never imagined in a million years that I would be the one that got Sherlocked. But it actually feels pretty good. And I wrote this in the Cultimax story. It validated my product idea. I was like, I think this is a really good idea. And then to see Apple come along behind and 6 years later do the same thing, I was like,
validated my idea.
I was I was ahead of my time.
Yeah, get on Twitter and say, welcome Apple, seriously. Like that famous Steve Jobs note to IBM.
I might do that actually. That's actually a really good idea. But I will say this. In the last 2 days, my sale, I don't think I've ever had a higher volume of sales in a 2 day period. I have to go in there and look, but like every time I go in there and refresh the orders, it's like new orders are coming in. People are just buying. It's like all of a sudden Apple popularized this one product idea, and now people are like, "Oh, Apple sold out. What else can I buy?" And I'm like in there on Twitter, like, "We're restocked on Cult cloth. Check out Cult cloth," and people seem to be responding me. So
yeah, I think it's the hustling you've been doing. That has something to do with it.
I think for sure, but definitely having it on Cultimax certainly helped a lot. And if you want your own Cult cloth, we have them in stock, at least for a while. I was just saying, we've gotten so many orders. I actually don't even know how many we actually have in stock at this point because
oh dear,
we got to ship all these cloths out.
Supply chain problems. Oh boy.
Yeah, we got some serious supply chain problems, just like everybody else. But I think we have enough. We definitely have enough for all the orders that came in. But how many more after that, I'm not quite sure. We'll have to take a look. We're not going to be sold out for 3 months. That's for sure. That just goes to show how unprepared Apple was for the response, because it's kind of become a meme at this point. But
while I was doing sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, while I was researching this last night, searching around, I found a couple of blog posts about the that nano texture display, and it really is kind of amazing. I mean, it completely cuts out all glare. And I saw some pictures of and there were 2 iMacs, so you can choose this as an option on an iMac for whatever it is, like an extra $1,000. But one screen is perfectly clear, you can totally see it, while the other one's completely covered in glare. And they say you could use this outside, anywhere, and under any lighting circumstances. It's almost like that kind of weird black paint, that absorbs all light.
Yeah.
This thing is completely like, if they had it laid down as well in another shot where there was where it was turned off, and it looked like that. It looked like that weird.
It's like a black hole for light, just
like
completely absorbs light. Yeah. Nothing gets through. That is really interesting because, like, I got this new TV, right? And by the way, I finally bought a TV. Oh yes, you guys thought it would never happen. It finally happened. I've been on the verge of buying a TV for 5 years, but finally I pulled the trigger. And it's supposed to have like this really great anti-glare coating. And I set it down where my other TV used to be. And I'm like, dude, it's exactly the same. My other TV looked exactly the same. My other TV that was 12 years old now was cutting edge technology at the time. But the glare coating they put on there works just as well as the glare coating that I had on my freaking 12-year-old TV. So I'd be interested to see the Apple XDR display.
How much was your TV, by the way?
So I got a screaming good deal on it. I got a 65-inch. Now's the time to buy a TV if you're looking for one, by the way. I got a 65-inch LG OLED C1 for $1,500 plus tax.
An OLED screen?
OLED screen, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And you know what? Honestly, people are asking me how I like it, and like so far, I'm like, I could do probably a 30-minute episode just on this topic, but I wasn't as impressed as I thought I was going to be. And some stuff on the TV looks looks really, truly bad. I was kind of surprised.
Bad?
And yeah, some stuff looks horrible. I was watching some YouTube videos last night, and the skin tones were like weird and purple and way too bright. And it just made me think how spoiled we all are. These are my Jerry Springer final thoughts before I turn the music on here. How spoiled we all are by like these really great Apple screens, these really great Apple screens that have True Tone, that adjust the white balance for the room that you're in, and they have auto brightness, so they're always just the right brightness, and the colors look incredible, like in all these different scenarios. And the OLED just doesn't look like that. Like in a lot of scenarios, it's way too bright or way too blue.
Do you still have the TV? You know, the showroom settings. You know how they turn it on in the
no
when you go into Best Buy and they're competing with all the other TVs.
It's right out of the box. I mean, it should be set up.
I know, but yeah, you gotta get in there and adjust the the
adjust
mode,
the settings.
Right?
So I've been playing around with all that stuff, and so far, so some content looks incredible. Like the right 4K content really does look incredible. I don't want to make it sound like it's not a good picture, but it's just not consistent. Like in a lot of scenarios, it doesn't look great, and in some scenarios, it looks really bad. And I was just thinking, how cool would it be if Apple released a TV that had all these great technologies built in that we're used to: True Tone, 120 hertz refresh rates, auto brightness, like this. Like they would create a
$20 cloth to clean it.
Well, you'd have to pay extra for that, but yeah, that would be an option if you wanted to buy it. There's all these features that are built into our iPhones and our iPads that a lot of TVs just don't have. And here I just spent $1,500 on a TV, which, by the way, this TV used to cost like $2,500, maybe even more when it came out. I got a screaming good deal on it because of how close we are to like the end of the year. And when it's too dark, it's still, or when it's dark in the room, it's still too bright. The white balance looks all weird and janky. It's like, dude, this TV should not be having these problems. This is like the apex of higher end TVs, and it looks weird in all these situations. It just is kind of weird. I'm not as impressed as I thought I was going to be. I'm happy with it, but I got some tweaking I need to do. I still need to go in there and. So yeah, Nick Pierce is saying I have the same TV. I spent weeks tinkering with it, getting it just right. Now it's perfect. Okay, so maybe that's it. Maybe I need some
tips.
Yeah, I gotta get some tips on here. And Javier Campo. He's saying center stage. Like, imagine if they released like their own OLED that was just like an iPhone with all the same technology, with Apple TV built in, a FaceTime camera on the top that could zoom in and do center stage. Like, that's a cool product. That's the product that Apple needs to release. Anyway, we've gone way over. way over. Not only is my mouth dry, but I drank all my water. I don't even have anything to wet my whistle here. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. I hope you guys enjoyed all of the MacBook Pro banter. That was a great keynote, wasn't it? It was truly exceptional. Made up for the last sleeper that we had, the god darn snooze fest. We had iPhone 13. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. If you want to come tell us what you think about the new MacBook Pro or the AirPods or anything, just how you're feeling. We're all on Twitter. I'm at Airfon, ERFN. Leander's at LK. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Hey, look, right when we're wrapping up, our viewer count skyrockets. Coincidence? This is arguably the best part of the show. Yeah. You know, the part where it's ending.
I'm gonna get some to wait. I gotta go.
That's when everyone gets here. Plus, my P meter is at like
modulation.
10 out of 10, Lewis. I need to go hit up the jar, if you know what I mean. It's jar time. All right, I'm moving the cursor towards the end stream button as we speak. It's time to stop. God, it's like the music won't stop. It just keeps going. How long is this music? I don't remember it being this long and slow. I have to stop early. God, now I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I can't stop it early. We gotta wait to the end. Okay, that's enough. Hey, bye. What was that? Bye-bye.